Hey there guys, so today's Wild Wednesday. I think we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to focus on one animal in particular, and that's this guy right here. His name is Bobito.
Say hi, Bobito.
Ooh. So Bobito is a sulcata tortoise, or an African spurred tortoise, and he is the third largest species of tortoise in the world. So these guys are, as their name might suggest, they are native to Africa, African spurred tortoise. And so these guys typically live around the edge of the Sahara Desert, and so these guys have really nice heat tolerance. So that's why Bobito here gets to live outside up until winter time. So this tortoise, they are, like most tortoises, extremely long-lived. This guy can live up to 70 years old, possibly even longer. And while he's a good size right now, he does have the potential to get much, much larger. And so I'm going to kind of show you real quick, just with our tape measure. Let me grab that behind you. So when these guys first hatch out, they are about 1.5 to 2 inches. So that's about this big. Not very big. They start off pretty small, but they have the ability to grow up to about 33 inches. So that is a pretty good sized tortoise. And as you can see, Bobito here, who is, he's about 5 years old, he still has some growing to do. So he's really just kind of a young man. Now, I want to tell you guys a couple things about tortoises, because as it turns out, tortoises are really, really good at getting out. They're also really good at not being very great pets. And why that is because most people buy these animals when they're small, tiny, and cute, and they don't realize how big they get or how long they live. You have the potential to pass this down to your kids or your kids' kids. And so, this guy, I want to show you one just kind of a quick trick before I go on my spiel about owning tortoises, is how you can tell he's a boy. And so you can see his shell right here, oh, you don't like being held like that, I'm sorry, is a little bit on the concave side. So I'll hold him upside down for just a second, and you'll see his shell is a little bit concave. That means it dips down. And so that tells you it's a boy. He also has these really large spurs right here. So that tells us that Bobito is in fact a Bobito. Now the other thing about these animals is when people get them, they don't realize that these guys are escaping machines. This is one of the most lost animals that you could possibly own, and that's because they like to burrow. And so when these guys live in the desert, in order to escape the heat, they are capable of digging burrows down 15 plus meters. That is an insanely deep burrow. And so when they get into your backyard and you let them just walk around, if they have the opportunity, they'll burrow right underneath your fence. So a lot of people get these animals and they end up losing them. So I would always encourage you, if you were to get a tortoise, make sure you do plenty of research. So these guys, like I said, are the third largest species of tortoise. The first two, just so you kind of know, is the Galapagos tortoise is the first, and then the Albadara tortoise is the second largest species. So these guys come in third. And let's see, I'm going to set him down for just a moment. You can watch him move. I want you to, while you're looking at him, to also notice that his shell is kind of spiky. And so that is not what a tortoise shell is supposed to look like.
Because he's related to Bowser from Mario, right?
You could say that, but I don't think that's too accurate. So what this is called is pyramiding. And literally they just form little pyramids on the top of the shell. This usually happens when they're younger and they don't quite get the right diet. And so this case of pyramiding is not super extreme. Nope, he's gonna go over there and nibble on that plant. Luckily that's an oak, so that one's pretty okay. These guys, as you might be able to imagine, they're not really meat eaters, they are herbivores, and so these guys eat a lot of plant material. They can really put it away. One thing here that we have that's really kind of good for them are prickly pear pads, and so we have a ton of prickly pear right now, and don't worry, we burn off all the spines that we can because we don't want to get stuck in the mouth. But these guys have to eat quite a bit of plant material. They also like eating fruits and veggies, and so I'll show you a video here in a little bit about him eating some watermelon. It's really cute to watch him eat.
Maddox, I actually have a couple of questions here
for you
about Bobito. So his spikes, What are his spikes kind of made out of? Are they kind of the same material as like our fingernails are made out of, the keratin and whatnot?
So those should be, yes, that should be keratin spikes right there. That gives him a little bit of armor plating. And so what that does is when he gets scared, he can tuck his head in and put his arms right over his eyes.
Ooh, he did not like that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can spook him real quick just to see if he'll cover.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so he'll hold these right in front of him just like that.
Oh,
And
you're
now,
so cute, Bobito.
nothing can get inside of there. And you'll also notice that these guys have stumpy little feet, and they with some nice blunt claws. These are basically just shovels on their feet. They are made for burrowing, and so that's what those help with. They're not actually sharp, they're pretty dull, but they are pretty hard, so they're pretty good at protecting themselves that way. They can't close up their shells like a box turtle does.
And my other question, which thank you, Mr. Maddox, by the way, for explaining that. But other question would be, I've always heard that the shell of a turtle, at least, I don't know if it's the same with a tortoise, is actually their rib cage. Is that right?
Yes. So that is the case for all of the turtles and tortoises. They are closely related animals. Tortoises just typically live on the land, where most turtles are semi-aquatic or aquatic. Obviously, box turtles are kind of the exception to that. But yes, this is part of their skeleton. So on top you have their ribs, or what would be their ribs, and so that kind of adds another depth of the pyramiding here. So literally, the bones are malformed on this guy's rib cage, on his back. And while this one's not so bad, doesn't cause a lot of problems, if you do not give them a good diet of lots of calcium, reptiles need calcium like crazy, their shells can be insanely deformed to the point where it does affect how they're able to live. So that's one thing, you have to make sure they have a good diet, especially if you're buying one of those cute little babies at the pet store, because you can really mess them up if you don't give them everything they need.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Maddox, and thank you, Bobito.
You want to say goodbye, Bobito?
Bye, Bobito.
Got a fly on you, Bobito.
It's like, yeah, I know, I can't get it off my face, though. Oh, look, a guest star. A guest star.
Where'd you come from?
Oh, my goodness. This guy. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
All right.
That's not one of mine.
No, it's just a farm kitty.
Alrighty, Bobito, I'll let you get back to your meal over here.
Okay.
Ran over all your watermelon booth, dude.